here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out the 37.
Oh!
Cabot,
where did he come from? Here comes Zwack.
A push for the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it at Auto Club.
Hello and welcome to the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League, live tonight for race number 2 of 10 here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Tonight's race, a 40-minute endurance race, as is the format this season. Looking forward to another exciting one. Steve Ficacci was your race winner last week in the opening race of the fall season in the M8 GTE machines. And he had a dominating performance. We'll see if he can follow that up here tonight on a much different racetrack, one that's about a quarter of the length of Le Mans, where we were last week. Darren Treacle currently quickest in the qualifying session in the number 70 machine. We'll ride on board with him here and try to get a lay of the land. But tonight's race brought to you by SEO Mike and Beltway Brewing Company. Check out those sponsors in the video description as well as in the halfway break. So excited to be back again with these guys once again tonight in race number 2 of this 10 race season, and we got a few more that we'll be bringing to you throughout the rest of the season. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed tonight's race. Of course, cheer on your favorite drivers out there. Let us know who you're rooting for. We'll try and follow along with them throughout the race tonight. And we are streaming live currently on YouTube as well as Facebook, so tune in on either of those platforms and you can see us live. You can check us out on our Facebook page, check us out at all the other social media outlets to stay up to date with what we're doing and when we go live with these races. As we will see, this is Darren Treacle headed back to the start-finish line here. Should be able to get one more lap in. Going to try and improve his lap time. Already fastest by nearly a half a second over Steve Ficacci. You can see the qualifying times up on the left. Makes the turn through, the left-hand turn, turn number 1. Down the straight here into the braking zone. Pretty much a hairpin corner. These cars, though, with a lot of grip, don't drop below about 70 miles an hour. And then down this stretch here, full throttle up through the gears. Little kink to the right, hitting upwards of 160 miles an hour down hard into the braking zone to the right. A little bit off in the grass there, may end his lap, but back to the left. And looks like he is going to call it there, so we'll join on with Brian Kennedy, currently 3rd quickest, last season's champion, trying to improve his time. About a 10th off of 2nd place Steve Ficacci. Back to the right, over the curb there, back to the left. Up over the crest, back to the right, and then another right-hand corner here. Oh, and he's a little bit slidey through the braking zone. That off-camber corner under the other bridge can go back to the right again, back to the left. Then a little bit downhill right-hand turn. Sharp to the right and then back to the left. That'll get him across the start finish line. Lap time's just around 1:18, and that lap time not going to be an improvement for Brian Kennedy, but fun to watch him wheel it out there for that lap. Carlos Bonds looking to try and improve from 19th on the grid. And he is not going to be able to improve there. Steve Ficacci, though, across the stripe. Nice lap by him. Does improve, but still going to stay in the 2nd spot. So last week's winner, Steve Ficacci, looks like he'll be rolling off from the front row here tonight. Looking forward to another exciting race. A little bit closer proximity for these drivers this evening. I know there are some rules and some warnings for these drivers to not make contact in the opening laps. There's going to be significant penalties given if that is the case, but this is a tight racetrack, and I'm sure we're going to see a little bit of incidental contact as qualifying comes to an end. Let's take a look at our starting grid here tonight from Mid-Ohio. Going off on the front row, it is going to be Darren Treacle taking the pole. This is his second pole in just as many races. Steve Ficacci rolls off from the second position here tonight. Starting in third, it'll be Brian Kennedy. Starting in the fourth position, Adam Pohl, who looks to try and rebound after early issues in the opening race, but able to get a nice solid finish. He'll try and improve that here tonight. Rolling off from the fifth spot, it'll be Stefan Vappa. Starting sixth, Aaron Dietrich. Starting seventh, Michael Pavolano. Starting eighth, Jonathan DeKuscher. Starting in the ninth position, it'll be Peter Lanik. Rolling off 10th, it'll be Cowan Crocker. Starting in the 11th position tonight, it'll be Jesse Brannon. Clint Fletcher rolls off from 12th. Good to see him back. Starting 13th, David Curtis. 14th, Rafael Torres. 15th tonight is Colin Kortnick. 16th, Scott Kim. 17th, Justin Craig. 18th, Mike Nickum. 19th, Carlos Bonds. Matthew Stover rounds out the top 20. Robert Benson, he'll roll off from the 21st position. And starting in 22nd, Matthew Gazenda. And rounding out the field tonight, Perry Duncan in the 23rd spot. So nice field size here for the second race of this season. Should be a good one. So looking forward to it. Let's take a look at the track conditions coming into tonight's event. 74-degree air temp, 81-degree track temp. So not going to be too slick for any of these drivers. But we did see them sliding around a little bit during the qualifying session. There should be a pit stop somewhere around halfway. And I'm sure there will be some strategy played in regards to fuel and tires. As the field working behind the pace car here to get things going. Cheer on your favorite driver. Let us know you're out there, who you're rooting for, and who do you think is going to win tonight's race. It'll be Treacle and Ficacci on the front row here, as they will be working into the starting zone. And green flag is out here from Mid-Ohio. We're off and away. Darren Treacle leads the field on through the first couple of corners. He'll lead them down now actually into turn number 2. Steve Ficacci already trying to take a peek to driver's right. Not going to find any running room there. He'll stay in line. Everybody further back. Oh, his car goes around. Oh, big hits. Few cars around. Oh, and they're still wrecking the 7-11 of Scott Kim. Goes for a slide. And this was Peter Lanik with the initial problem, but Torres gets involved. Scott Kim. It looks like David Curtis also collected. Let's go back and take a look here at what happened there in the opening corners. Trying to see who that was. Let's see, I think it might have been Peter Lanik. The 294 goes around here. He's going to get tagged by, that is the 43 of David Curtis, who goes reverse, and then nowhere for Scott Kim to go. He's going to get hit in the side. He'll go for a slide there. And they all get pointed back in the right direction, but very spread out. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it'll be Darren Treacle leading lap number 1 as they work back towards turn number 2. This is the trouble zone, right where we saw it in the last lap, but he is going to be your race leader going wide there. Adam Pohl try a different approach to that corner, it appears. Treacle will lead them down the backstretch here. Going to be a hard right-hand corner. Can he continue to hold this margin? 8/10, already a good gap. And this is going to be one of our longer races in terms of laps. This will be 29 laps here tonight. This may end up being potentially the most laps in any race all season long, as we do have cars on pit road. Going to be Scott Kim and David Curtis getting the fast repairs done on their race cars. Battles going on back here. Carlos Bonds, Robert Benson, Peter Lanik, Matthew Gazenda. Lanik did not bring it in. He's got some damage on that car, but doesn't seem to be hampering him too much. He's going to try and make the move on Robert Benson. He'll make contact, and around goes the 71, and nowhere for, I think that was Torres to go. He had to go off the racetrack and slowed up quite a bit. A bit of chaos here in the opening couple of laps. And Rafael Torres just trying to find some rhythm here. It's going to be tough being involved in a couple of wrecks. He is off and away. 1 second now. The gap back to Steve Ficacci from Darren Treacle, who's got his hands full with Adam Pohl, who was closed right up last time around. They nearly matched lap times, but Treacle, the fastest car by a good margin, about a half second quicker than the next two drivers. Similar to what we saw out of the qualifying and practice sessions. Stefan Vappa right here in the top 5 as well. Michael Pavolano, he's got a little bit of a handful right there. Aaron Dietrich right behind him, the 96. And this is a fast racetrack. So going to be hard to make passes. It's going to probably happen as the tires degrade over the long run. Keeping an eye on any battles that are developing here. Looks like Rafael Torres is closed up now to Perry Duncan. And the 8 machine, he looks like he's going to attempt a crossover, but not able to get alongside. They work through the final corner. That lap still sliding around is Rafael Torres. He's going to peek drivers left here into turn number 1, and he is going to take the spot away from Perry Duncan. That's for 17th. Just a reminder, top 15 drivers earn points in this league. They earn that many points, or they earn points in qualifying as well as in the race. As now side by side, Colin Kortnick and Perry Duncan. Duncan's going to be able to out-drag him here on the back stretch. Keeping an eye on the second place battle as well. A little wheel hop there for the 8 machine. Justin Craig starting to close up on Mike Nickham as well. So perhaps the damage on the 57, or sorry, on Matthew Stover. Perhaps the damage on 54 or the 57 could be hurting those race cars. The 208 of Justin Craig up 4 positions. Matthew Stover is up 8 spots, actually, so he is your biggest mover of the race. Mike Nickham up 4 positions. Matthew Gazenda up 6 side by side. Perry Duncan and Colin Kortnick with problems. The 32. Taking a look here at what happened. He had gotten around the 8 machine. Did they make some contact here in the final corner? No, just overcooked it a little bit too much. And keeps it out of the tire barrier, luckily. Not what you want to have happen. Still plenty of time to try and recover, though. And all drivers still on the lead lap. David Curtis, though, just about 20 seconds in front of your race leader. That is how fast Darren Treacle is pushing this race car. Again, last time about a half second quicker than Steve Ficacci and Adam Pohl. You gotta wonder, is that gonna hurt the tires pushing that hard? Brian Kennedy's actually got good pace right now, as well as Stefan Vappa. Big bobble there from Adam Pohl. He's starting to feel that pressure from Brian Kennedy. For the final podium position, already about 7 minutes into this race. We've completed 5 laps. Top 4 all within the top 4. top 4 starters, I should say, all still within the top 4. These two have swapped positions since the start of the race, but Brian Kennedy closing back up now. Adam Pohl by far the slowest of the top 5 the last time around, so he may have used his stuff up. Oh yeah, you can see, look at the back end starting to slide out from underneath, and here comes Brian Kennedy trying to find a way around him. Really nice shot there. Not able to get anything done. Into the corner though. Adam Pohl will lead Kennedy back to the left here towards the start finish line. It's still going to be Adam Pohl hanging on to that 3rd position. Into turn number 1, he goes a wide arc on entry, and that's actually going to help him out quite a bit here down this short chute. We've got a 3-car bunch led by Pohl with Brian Kennedy and Stefan Vapa, and then the rest of those cars in the top 10 not too far off, and maybe even starting to close up a little bit here. Taking a look at lap times again. Adam Pohl with a 120.1 to the top 2, running a 119 flat. That has slowed down Brian Kennedy. Stefan Vapa a half-second quicker than those two. And everybody behind them all about a half-second quicker. So the 14 machine struggling early in this race, even though he's in 3rd position. Struggling for pace right now. He's actually only as fast as Callan Crocker, who's running 11th. Everybody else is faster than him. Callan about 1.5 behind Clint Fletcher, who is making his return, his first race of the season. Looks like he's in the Texas Mobile, the 04. Clint was very quick during the last season. He did a lot of practicing and a lot of improvement, and having a solid night so far, up 2 positions from his 12th starting spot. Side by side up here in front of him, Jonathan DeKuscher, Jesse Brandon. They're going to trade positions, the 3 and the 333. Brian Kennedy still pushing the issue here with Adam Pohl. They've picked up the pace, though. Last time around, they were much quicker. And Steve Ficacci, he is applying the pressure for the race lead now. The gap is down to about a half-second. So Darren Treacle maybe has the short run pace. But now, over 10 minutes into the race, he's starting to fall off. Here comes Ficacci trying to go 2 for 2 in the opening 2 races this season. And it is a lot of fun to watch these guys wheel it out here. They're really flying around here. Good pace from these drivers tonight. Like Treacle extended the lead a little bit through that last section of the racetrack, but Ficacci's still a half-second quicker that time around. So within the last 2 laps, he's closed a whole second. Meanwhile, behind them, Adam Pohl, about 7/10 in front of Brian Kennedy, who's about 6/10 in front of Stefan Vapa, another 8/10 back to Michael Pavolano. Aaron Dietrich, another 2 seconds back. A little lockup there from Adam Pohl. Could that be an opportunity for Brian Kennedy to make a move? Not just yet. This is such a tough place to pass. He gets a little bit too much of the curb right there. Tries to set up for the next few corners. Not in position to make a move. Battle further back, Mike Nickum, the 57, Matthew Stover, the 54. The battle for 14th and 15th. These guys, for reference, running about a 120.8, and Nickum with a 120.3. Race leaders running 119 flats, but that is pretty tight you know, for road course racing, that's a pretty tight spread. Slowest car in the field right at the moment is a 122 flat. So about 3 seconds off the race leader. But I believe that may be a damaged car as well. So almost everybody else running 121s or better. So less than 2 seconds really between the fastest cars and the slowest cars in this race. And right now, the two quickest cars by a good margin are these two running 119 flats. Everybody else at least a few tenths off of that. Next quickest would be Jonathan DeCusher running in the 8th position. Had to do a little correction right there. Definitely lost a lot of time on that lap. But still gaining on Aaron Dietrich right there in front of him. Make sure to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the race so far. We do appreciate it. Halfway break coming up in just about 6 minutes. You'll hear from tonight's race sponsors. Right now, the battle for the lead starting to tighten up once again. Ficacci just about 2 car lengths in tow of the 70 of Darren Treacle. Adam Pohl still hangs on to third as those two drifting over the hill. Pohl in third, about a half second to Brian Kennedy. That's only about 3 or 4 car lengths, realistically. Michael Pavolano, he's made some inroads here towards Stefan Vapa in the 4th position. Or 5th position, rather. Further back, DeCusher still closing. And Jesse Brandon is not too far back either. We have 9 cars within 12 seconds, which is the winning margin from last week. That's how far Steve Ficacci was out in front of the rest of the field. And this one nearly halfway through. We've got 9 cars within that margin. That's really impressive. Ooh, and a little mistake there from Jesse Brandon. Cost him some time. Ficacci, though, stalking Darren Treacle. These two were very quick last week. Ficacci didn't get the pole in that one, and he didn't get the pole in this one tonight, but looking to be the fastest car after about 10 minutes into a run. The question is, can he find an opportunity to make a clean pass? And look at that, very, very tight. Treacle and Ficacci nearly nose to tail out of turn number 2. Down the stretch here, back through the kink to the right. The gap just about 0.3 of a second. It's really just 2 car lengths into the braking zone. Ficacci, though, not close enough to make a move. But he is there. He is putting the pressure on Darren Treacle. And the Treacle insurance machine. The Rix Flix car behind him there. Ficacci, the 00. These two have driven away now 5 seconds out in front of Brian Kennedy. And what has happened to Adam Pohl? Did he make a pit stop here? He is all the way back to 10th. So Adam Pohl with problems. We missed it. We can go back and find out what happened to him. Here we go. So he lost it all on his own. Appears to have kept it off the retaining wall. but lost a lot of ground. Actually did nose it into the tires, so that is what cost him, I think, even more time, possibly. And once again, in turn number 1, Fikachi is there. He just cannot get alongside. Trying so hard to close that gap. And really, really, really close racing right now here at the front of the field. Approaching the halfway point. It is all Treacle and Fikachi. Stefan Vapa is closed up to Brian Kennedy. He is putting down some good laps. 3/10 quicker than the 77 last time. We'll see if anybody tries to do an undercut or an overcut here with the pit stop. You would think you'd want to take as little fuel as you need. I know that cost a couple drivers last week with taking a little bit too much fuel. Here looking at Mike Nickum closing up on Matthew Stover. These two have been pretty well nose to tail. Rafael Torres, who is a race winner in this league in the past, he is struggling right now. Started in 14th, running in 16th after early problems. He's closed up to this battle, though. He does have a little bit more speed than those two cars. Got to be careful to get by cleanly here at the front. Fikachi again out of turn number 1, closes up to about 3/10. We did have a swap for position. Pole takes 9th as Callan Crocker has brought it to pit road. So he will be one of our first takers, and it appears Justin Craig, the teammate, also on to pit road for Hang Loose Racing. Mike Nickum brings it in as well. So drivers making their pit stop. We did see Peter Lanik, Scott Kim, David Curtis, and Perry Dunn. Oh, and big problems for Mike Nickum. He completely missed his stall. And this is going to hurt big time. This battle for the lead and potentially for the win here tonight. Will either of these drivers bring it in? Now they both stay out halfway mark. Just about there across the stripe to complete lap number 15. I think we'll get 31 laps in here. We'll have to just wait and see how many laps we do get. Treacle continues to lead. We're past halfway. We're going to go quickly to a side-by-side halfway break, and we'll be right back. SEO Mike helps businesses of all sizes achieve higher search engine rankings to drive more traffic and increase sales. Contact SEO Mike today for a free website evaluation and quote. Mention this ad for 15% off your initial setup. SEO Mike, marketing websites on the internet since 1997. Visit SEOMike.com. Beltway Brewing Company is located in Sterling, Virginia, and proudly represents the DMV area. Check out their lineup of unique IPAs, lagers, sours, stouts, and even seltzers. Savory and delicious empanadas by Peruvian Brothers are now available in their tap room. For all things Beltway, go to beltwaybrewco.com and follow at Beltway Brew Co. on social media. And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out the 37.
Oh!
Burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swag.
A punch for the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back at the racetrack now, the battle for the race lead still not over. Darren Treacle and Steve Ficacci still on the racetrack. We've had, about a half dozen takers to pit lane so far, and they are approaching lap traffic right there in front of them. Trying to see who that is. Could very well be David Curtis. It is David Curtis, who has not made a pit stop, but he did make a stop for damage repair early on in this one 15 laps ago. Don't think he'll be able to go to the end. As on the pit road now, Jonathan DeCoucher and Jesse Brannon both bring it in. And tires being put on those race cars. So DeCoucher, long stop for him. I wonder if he had a problem or a pit road speeding penalty. But he is going to be in the box for quite a bit longer than many other drivers. Jesse Brannon, 23 seconds though for him. Not sure what is going on with those two, if they had some problems, but much longer pit stops than some of these other guys. Callan Crocker, I think fuel only 7.8 seconds. And Aaron Dietrich as well, 7.9 seconds. The battle for the race lead still underway. And it could very well come down to pit road strategy or getting through the lap traffic. Got Kim right here in front of them. And they are closing up on another lap machine. And that is Robert Benson, who's going to nicely get out of the way. That will preserve this lead battle. And Ficacci is just pushing so hard. Goes into that corner a little bit too hard. But able to get the car rotated back around. He is still there, just a car length and a half behind. And now the 70 of Darren Treacle, he's going to feel some of those aerodynamic issues from the lap machines out in front of him, dirtying the air. What an incredible battle this has been here tonight for the race win. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying it out there. Does Ficacci or Treacle, do either of these guys make a pit stop? Here comes Ficacci pushing the issue onto pit road. Got to make sure not to get a speeding penalty. He will bring it in here. We'll see if he gets into the box nicely. Into his stall. No issues not having to back up. We'll see how long he is in the box here. It looks like no tires, just fuel only. 7.7 seconds of fuel for Steve Ficacci and Darren Treacle. Now he's got to be on a mission pushing that race car. He's gotten around Scott Kim. It may have been a good decision there for Ficacci, knowing that the lap machine of Scott Kim was in front of these guys. Could very well hold up Darren for a few moments. Keeping an eye on other cars bringing it in. Nobody yet. You would think Darren would have to respond here with just under 14 minutes remaining in this race. Lose Brian Kennedy to second, Stefan Vappa to third, well off of Darren Treacle. And Ficacci has re-entered the racetrack in the 5th position. Currently 23 seconds behind, and it's looking like a lot of drivers taking about 26 seconds on pit road. So will that mean Ficacci takes the lead here? We'll have to wait and see how it cycles out. Darren Treacle not going to bring it in this time. Keeping an eye out for other drivers looking to bring it down pit road. Nobody at the moment on this lap. So a bit surprising. Pretty well spaced out amongst the top 15. Callan Crocker, though, only about 3/4 of a second behind Colin Kortnick, who has yet to make a pit stop in the 32. And I wonder if some of these drivers are going to try and push it the rest of the way. I just don't think that's possible. Matthew Gazenda made a pit stop 2 laps ago. That's a driver we didn't mention. We haven't talked too much about him. Currently running in 19th after starting in 22nd, so he's made up a few positions. And still a few drivers yet to pit in front of him. He could very well get a few more spots, maybe even get up into the points, which would be a solid result after starting in the 22nd spot. Here is Darren Treacle onto pit road. That'll give Brian Kennedy the race lead. Treacle into his box. Does he overshoot it at all? Looks to be nice and clean. How much fuel does he end up taking here? And here comes Fakachi on the front stretch. And Darren Treacle's gonna exit pit road. He'll be in front of him, but Fakachi with a full head of steam, is he gonna be able to make a move down into turn number 2? No, they'll resume the battle right where they were. Big dive in the corner. There goes Fakachi off the track. Oh my goodness, he was trying to make the move. It just didn't work. Let's go back here and take a look at this. See what he saw from out in front of his race car. You see Treacle slower. Fakachi with a big run. Oh, just too late in the braking zone. Was going to run right into Darren. He goes through the sand trap, able to get it back onto the racing surface. But that is going to just be enough to, I think, pretty much hand Darren Treacle the race win. The gap is nearly 5 seconds between those two. Unless the top 3 drivers are able to stay on the track and complete this race without a pit stop, but Brian Kennedy's brought it in. And question there, is Dekusher out? No, he is on the racetrack. He had a long pit stop, though, which I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Scott Kim has just brought it in as well. He's exiting pit lane. Yeah, Dekusher lost about 9 seconds because I think he put tires on during that pit stop or took too much fuel, but he has lost a lot of ground. Here comes Clint Fletcher from inside the top 10, going to bring it onto pit road. Stefan Vappa is your race leader now. He started in 5th. Michael Pavolano about 2 seconds behind him. Currently, both of those drivers have yet to bring it to victory or to pit lane. Adam Pohl in 5th as well has yet to come down. Rafael Torres in 8th. Carlos Bonds in 9th. Matthew Stover 10th. And Colin Kortnick all have to make a pit stop. And here comes Stefan Vappa from the race lead. That'll hand the top spot to Michael Pavolano. Next car in line then, Darren Treacle. And you can see Fakachi, that's the distance right there. It's 5.3 seconds. As Treacle will take second position back, about 13.5 seconds up to Michael Pavolano. And Vappa re-enters the racetrack. Appears that he will be in 4th. And Adam Pohl there behind him still has to come to pit road. So he'll have a nice gap back to Brian Kennedy, about 4.5 seconds. Now onto pit road comes Matthew Stover as well, and you see the 71 machine of Robert Benson. He gets service completed on his race car. But Michael Pavolano, after starting 7th, he leads a lap. Going to be coming to pit road most likely this time or next time. Not going to bring it in this time. Only 8 minutes left in this race. Is it possible he could bring this thing home on fuel here? Got pretty good speed tonight. Right now, actually lapping faster than Darren Treacle. Darren just making his way through turn number 1. Is like 21 laps here in the 24 that have been run. So it is Michael Pabolano out in front, has yet to bring it to pit road. Here comes Carlos Bonds bringing it to pit lane. Colin Kortnick in 9th still has to make a stop, and Rafael Torres as well. Adam Pohl has just brought it in. He'll fall back to the 8th position. Should be able to get 7th back from Torres when he makes that pit stop. But all eyes on Michael Pabolano, the 5 machine. Working through the final corner here. He will bring it to pit lane. And this will hand the race back over to Darren Treacle. Pabolano just into his pit box. Going to probably only take a few seconds of fuel here. Oh, he had to back up. That's going to be costly as well. But Treacle goes on by. Fikachi now about 6 seconds behind. You'll see him just exit turn number 1 back there. Stefan Vapa is actually pretty close to the 00. There comes Pabolano onto the racetrack. He'll have Brian Kennedy closing in. And Brian Kennedy going to try and make the move that Fikachi tried to make. And he'll make it stick, though. Move Brian Kennedy up to 4th for the moment. But Pabolano, fresh tank of fuel in that car. Rafael Torres brings it to pit lane. Also, Colin Kortnick onto the pit road. And that completes the pit cycle. Everyone has brought it in. And we swap positions here for 4th and 5th. Pabolano takes it right back from Brian Kennedy. And the race all but won for Darren Treacle. This one has actually flown by. I'm very surprised at how quickly this race has seemed to have gone. Been very exciting at the front. Darren Treacle able to weather the storm and all the attempts by Steve Fikachi to close in and make a pass. Led 22 laps here tonight out of 26 that have been run around the lap machine. That was Matthew Gazenda. Currently scored 17th. Going up the road here is Matthew Stover. And I do believe Treacle will probably get to him. Well, actually, you know what? He may not. That's still a pretty good margin, but it's going to start to affect Treacle a little bit. Stover, who started in 20th, up to 16th right now. And looking for biggest mover here tonight. Seeing too many, actually. Rafael Torres up 4 positions from where he started into the top 10. Justin Craig up 4 spots as well from 17th to 13th. And unfortunate for Jonathan DeCusher with the long pit stop there has really set him back. But he is starting to make inroads here towards Clint Fletcher. This would be for 11th. Could be a fun battle to watch in the closing moments of this race. Oh, and he's gonna go around. Oh, off into the tire barrier as we were on board with him, and he actually tows it straight to pit lane. Gonna call it a race right there. What an unfortunate accident for what was turning out to be was gonna be an exciting battle, I think. But Jonathan DeCusher, he ends up, I think, just clipping the curb a little bit too much. We can get another view of it here. Oh, yeah, just slipped the rear end around. Backs it into the barrier. Calls it a night. Unfortunate there for DeCusher. He'll come home in the 21st position, I believe. Looking for other battles. Scott Kim, David Curtis. Not too far apart, 17th and 18th. These are not points-paying positions here. No other real battles to speak of. Everybody's separated by at least a second or so. Steve Ficacci not going to be able to go back-to-back to open the season unless Darren Treacle makes a big mistake here. Coming back to 2 to go. Hope everyone has enjoyed tonight's race. Been a lot of fun to watch this one, actually. Good sized field tonight, and very exciting battle for the lead for most of the event. Just kind of getting undone there by Steve Ficacci going off the racetrack. But either way, very entertaining race so far. And it's not over yet. I mean, still a couple laps. Nearly 30 corners for Darren Treacle to make a mistake. Darren, not one of those guys to make too many mistakes, especially in the closing moments of a race like this. And we'll keep an eye out for other battles. Clint Fletcher, Rafael Torres now starting to close up to one another. Fletcher, I think he got passed up by Torres. Looks like Justin Craig may be the biggest mover of the race. From 17th to 12th, I believe that's going to be 5 positions. Carlos Bonds also 5 positions gained. Matthew Stover 5 positions gained. Matthew Gazenda 6 spots. He's not going to be able to get a points paying finish unless these guys in front of him get together. Matthew Stover, Carlos Bonds. Just as I say that, nearly contact between those two drivers. And the clock ticking down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This may end up being, yeah, this is the white flag lap. We're coming back to the checkered here. And Darren Treacle. Looks like he has done it. Congratulations to Darren Treacle. Dominating performance at Mid-Ohio here tonight. Steve Ficacci able to salvage 2nd place after the mistake. And Stefan Vapa going to complete the podium. Great run from him in the 97 further back. Pabolano and Brian Kennedy. Kennedy going through the grass there. Did he lose a spot in the last corner? Oh, he really sent it in there. Oh, there was a car off the racetrack. And Brian Kennedy, actually, yeah, he did crash out of the final corner, but not going to make a difference. He does complete the race and finishes in the 5th spot. Clint Fletcher, Rafael Torres, this battle's still going on, 10th and 11th. Keeping an eye on these guys. This is happening about a minute after the leaders have completed the race. Final couple of corners right here. You know Clint Fletcher is definitely going to try and make a move. He's just too far back. Rafael Torres going to be able to take 10th position, and Clint Fletcher finishes in the 11th spot. And oh, big hits by the drivers here after the race is completed. But congratulations to Darren Treacle for his race win here tonight. As we will go to the driver interviews straight away. We'll try and pull in the top 3. Darren Treacle going to get his first victory of the season, so congrats to him on that. If we can find him in here. Darren Treacle, there he is. And we're also going to need Stefan Vapa. All right, let's see if we can get Darren in here. Darren Treacle, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I do, Adam. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good, man. That was an exciting battle for the win tonight between you and Steve Ficacci there. You guys were just nose to tail for, I don't know what, 10, 15 laps. Exciting to watch. able to hold him off though and get the victory here tonight. How does it feel to be able to race like that with him and come away with the win?
Well, it feels good because Steve Fakachi usually does Steve Fakachi things, and Darren Treacle does his Darren Treacle things, which aren't as good usually. So no, it was good. Steve's a good racer. He was right there. I don't even think he really practiced much. He just jumped right in. He's quick right out of the gate. But it's just a hard track to pass on. Our lap times were very similar. I would make a little mistake. He'd make a little mistake. Then I think he made a bigger mistake and went off into the grass on the back side of the track, which gave us a little bit of a gap. And then he went for the pits a little earlier. Yeah, and then it was just kind of game on for the last part there. But it was good.
Yeah, he pit a couple laps before you, and then when you were exiting pit lane, he was right there on your bumper going down into turn number 2, and he overshot it a little bit. Did you think that it was going to be that he was going to be able to get to you there? With the relative and all that, were you able to see him kind of closing in as you were coming off pit road?
I was. I mean, I thought he was going to cream me, to be honest with you. He was coming in. We got these little monitors, rear view monitors in the car, and his car got really big and filled the monitor really fast. But luckily, he was able to get it under control and not take us both out. But yeah, I was keeping an eye on it. I knew it was going to be tight. I actually did one of my better pit stops. Usually I really mess up the pit stop, so I was pleased with able to getting in and getting out with no drama at all. Usually I either forget to hit the pit limiter or whatever. There's always something, and he's usually like spot on with his pit stops. Every season he's always spot on. So yeah, I was pleased with the outcome and with being able to get out in front of him. I'm not sure where, what happened after that and why the gap, because I ended up getting like a 5-second gap, and that's kind of where it stayed for the rest of the race. I don't know, maybe he went off. I didn't see what happened to him.
Exiting the turn number 2 there, where he nearly ran into you, he went off into the sand, and I think that created the margin. But yeah, I mean, you guys were just trading laps one off another. I mean, you pulled away in the beginning, he closed up, and then you guys were running basically the exact same lap times for 15 laps before the pit stop started. So tonight, yeah, we're here at Mid-Ohio, right? Kind of a smaller, tighter racetrack, but we go to a street course next week at Belle Isle up in Detroit. How do you feel about going out there? You think you can go back to back?
Oh, it's gonna be tough. I tell you, if you don't get a good start, get on the pole, get a good start, that is a very tough track to pass on. And I feel like I do pretty good there, but if you just make the slightest mistake and that's it, or if someone in front of you makes a slight mistake and next thing you know, the track is blocked. So it's I'm certainly going to give it a shot. I'm hoping to make it next week. I leave next Saturday to go to the SCCA National Runoffs, Championship Runoffs, which are at VIR. So for our millions and millions of fans that are watching, if they want to come and get some autographs, that's where I will be next week. Or no, I'm sorry, the week of 24th through the 1st. So hopefully I'll make it next week. I'm planning on it. I should have everything packed up and ready to go by then. So
well, there you go. Well, we wish you best of luck. If we don't talk to you before then, the runoffs are really cool competition for sure. Yeah. So wish you the best of luck out there. But you get the victory here tonight in the virtual world. And you lead 26 laps, really dominating this race and holding off Steve Fakachi. Anybody you want to give a shout out to for the victory?
Sure. I'll give a shout out to the sponsors, SEO Mike, Stint over there at Beltway Brewery. Then I'll give a shout out to myself, Treacle Insurance Agency, and Haggerty Motorsports. And then Scott for putting this on, and then of course you for doing the broadcast, and then just everybody for showing up. We had a really good turnout tonight, so that's good to see.
Yeah, definitely encouraging to see everybody starting to make their way back for the fall season, and you were able to be the best of them here tonight. So congrats on the win, and hopefully we catch you next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
You too. That is Darren Treacle, race winner here tonight. Let's go to second place finisher, and that is going to be Steve Picacci. Steve, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Do.
Well, Steve, you weren't quite able to get to the race lead here tonight, but man, you were trying, and you were all over the back bumper of that 70 machine for most of this race. Is there anything you could have done to make the pass happen, or you know, how much are you kicking yourself about that mistake, you know, going into turn one?
Yeah, so he was so fast in qualifying, so I was just like, man, if I could just even be close, I think that would be a win today. And you know, I guess it was like 3-4 laps. He put like a 3-second lap gap on me, and I was like, well, that's it. And then I slowly started reeling him in. I don't know. I tried a few things. Like noticed he was taking turn 2 a little bit different. He was taking turn 5 and 6 a little bit different, and I tried them. They just didn't work for me. I just went back to doing it the way I wanted to do it. I don't know if it seemed like we were very equal. I mean, that's about where we were. I was faster through the middle of turn 2, but he was taking like a wider run to get a real good run down the straight. I probably could have stuck my nose in and made a little contact and got by him, but you know, he doesn't race that way, so I don't want to race him that way. But yeah, and then I was just like, you know what? I followed him for so long. I was like, I think I'm faster than him. You know, like you never know because of the draft. Like I could just be drafting him and he's towing me along, but I saw some traffic in front of us. I looked back. We had about about 20 seconds behind us. There was a gap, so I said, you know, I'm just gonna pit and try to make a run at this, and I about had it.
Yeah, just about that turn 1 or turn 2. It was a close call though, and I did know Darren was saying that he saw you get really big in the mirror for a minute.
Well, the lap car was on the inside, and they didn't do anything wrong, but I was just like, you know, I'm going to the inside. I have the run, and then he broke a little bit early. You know, probably just because he was a little slow at it, you know, because he came out of the pits. So he didn't break where he normally breaks. I broke where I normally broke, and I'm like, I'm going to cream him because he cuts to the inside, which was his line all night. And I just locked him up because I was like, you know what? It's unfair of me to take him out because I went for it. So I locked him up and ended up just going straight. Fortunately, didn't touch him. And, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, I got second. And after qualifying, that's all I really thought I could have had. I think maybe if things worked out a little bit different, I could have made a run at it. You know, if I was a little more patient, maybe I could have got him, you know, in the lap traffic. There was still about 10 minutes left at that point. But, you know, it is what it is. It was a good night. Like I said, I'm just happy I didn't hit the wall and end it.
Yeah, it was very entertaining to watch you guys just pull away from the field and see if you were going to be able to make the move on him. But second place here in the second race of the season. And we do go to Belle Isle next week in Detroit. How do you feel about going to that street circuit?
You know, I didn't really plan on running the season. I saw the race was last week at Le Mans, which I really like, and I jumped in. And fortunately, you know, my wife had some work to do, so she was like, "Why don't you go race tonight?" So we did, and maybe we are going to do all the races.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I do like Belle Isle. It's you know, there's no room for error. There's just walls everywhere, and you know, I think with this group and these cars, passing will be tough. I think lap traffic will probably play a little bit into it. So, you know, who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a fun one to watch, and if we get the same kind of turnout that we have here tonight, it will be very, very interesting to see how things go at that track. But man, you're on a roll here in the first 2 races. You finished first last week, second here tonight. Gonna have that points lead going into the next one. But anybody you want to give a shout out to for the runner-up tonight?
Yeah. So happy birthday to Darren. Today's his birthday, or yesterday was his birthday.
Oh,
so
wow.
Maybe I let him win for that. I don't know. That's not really what happened, but that's what I'm gonna tell him. But no, he was on it tonight. He deserves it. But happy birthday to him, and just thank my wife for all this stuff she puts up with. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, Steve. Well, congrats on a great finish here tonight and putting on a good show for us. And hopefully we see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is Steve Picacci, second place finisher. Let's go to third place now. That's going to be Stefan Vappa. Stefan, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I do, Adam. How are you?
Hey, not too bad, man. Great run for you here tonight. You start 5th. You lead a lap. and you come home on the podium here. Really, really strong finish, and you had some good speed out there. Actually, still within reach of those top two. Really, the only one that could say that other than those drivers. Just give us a rundown of your race, how you feel you did tonight, and this third place finish.
Yeah, no complaints. I'm really pretty pleased because I didn't have the pace that Darren had, and unless Steve made a mistake, he's really difficult to get around. So I was happy to be running with Adam and Brian and Michael. They were really going well, but I got this feeling when I logged in for the practice session today that if you were kind to the tires, you might be in a good place at the end of the race, because it seems like this car will take the tires and just turn them into little bits of rubber on the side of the track.
Yeah.
Particularly here. So once I realized I didn't really have the pace to leave either Adam or Brian or Michael for that case, I just started concentrating on babying the tires, not locking them up, not spinning them up, trying to be smooth, and just wanted to keep the pressure on them because I didn't think there was a lot of room to make a clean pass. So I figured if I could keep some pressure on them, get them to make a mistake, then maybe I could run away and hide. So that was the plan, and it worked out. I was surprised to see Steve when I came out of the pits. That was a shocker. It sounds like he had a tough time getting around some lapped cars.
Yeah, it was a close call between he and Darren. As Darren was exiting the pits, Steve nearly got into him. And, if something had happened between those two, you were the next one in line. So, you put yourself in a good position to potentially, grab a win here if things did go south for those top two. But good pace tonight here at Mid-Ohio, and we go to Belle Isle up in Detroit next week. How do you feel about going out there?
Well, I mean, this is a high-risk track. You start to put a tire on the grass, and you very easily go for a ride. Belle Isle's even worse. So, yeah, don't make any mistakes there. Pretty excited. Hope I can find the time to make it. That ought to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if we get the turnout we got here tonight as well, that is going to be a very entertaining race. So we'll see if you can follow up the podium finish here tonight. You come home third after starting in fifth. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, sure. I always give a shout out to my wife and for tolerating my insanity here, and to the sponsors for the series, Beltway Brewing and SEO Mike, and anybody I forgot. And then my own personal sponsor, which is Swixtel, which is the Argentinian clothing brand that makes old vintage clothing, or looks like old vintage clothing, for when you go to the vintage races and you want to look the part.
Oh, very, very cool. Nice. Yeah, I know I see people wearing the old hats and shirts and all of that at Goodwood and some of those old vintage racing events, and very cool. I didn't know what that was, but
yeah, that's exactly it. So you look at the Goodwood stuff. There's a lot of folks out there wearing the Swixtel brand.
Very cool. Well, you learn something every day, and you brought them a podium finish here tonight. So congrats on that again, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you. At a third place finisher, Stefan Vapa, sporting the vintage clothing brand. That's cool to know. Let's see who we're going to pick for driver of the day. Now, I had pulled Matthew Gazenda in for a moment, and he came home in the 16th position after starting in 22nd, which makes him, I believe, the biggest mover of the race. If you take a look here, that is going to make him biggest mover of the race. So Matthew Gazenda. Hey Matthew, this is Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, how's it going?
Hey, not too bad, man. You're the biggest mover of the race, so that makes you driver of the day here at Mid-Ohio. You come home in 16th tonight. Kept the car pretty clean from what I can see. Just describe the night and gaining a few spots there and keeping it clean.
Yeah, I made a choice to not qualify, start at the back just because I didn't get much practice time in, and I just wanted to keep it clean. And I knew the tires were going to go off pretty fast. This track's pretty tough on them, and when we did the practice race yesterday, even with half the time, the tires were just gone by the end. So I was really just taking it taking it easy, which is kind of boring. It's not the most exciting racing, but I knew there would be some fun at the start, so I just kind of held back, and was cautious to start with, pitted, I tried to pit, not with a lot of cars around me. Unfortunately, I came out right in front of some of the fast guys, which wasn't ideal, but I let those guys by really quick. But then, it was just stay steady. I knew the tires were going to go off, so I adjusted the brake balance a little bit, just so I wasn't locking up. And it was just trying to be nice to the tires the whole time. Wish I was there's a couple drivers in front of me that I thought I could get up to on pace. But I gave up a lot of time letting some of the front markers get by. So, what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely still a strong result here. Like I said, biggest mover of the night, gaining 6 positions at a place that is pretty tough to pass unless drivers make mistakes around you. So, really good result here tonight at Mid-Ohio for you. We go to Belle Isle in Detroit next week. How do you feel about going out there?
You know what? I've never raced there. So I'm in these cars, I'm extremely nervous. I'm going to put a lot of practice time in, but I feel like that's going to be one that's another one where it's going to be a lot of attrition. So it's really going to be about getting the braking down and staying out of the walls. It's a tough track. So I think for me, still getting used to these cars. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is just being consistent and keeping away from the walls a lot.
Yeah, keep all 4 wheels on it and be there at the end is, I think, the key to that one. So
yeah, for sure.
Especially if we get the turnout that we got here tonight.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of guys tonight. Which was one of the reasons why I was like, I'll start a little further back, because I didn't want to be right in the middle of everything. I think I probably, based on my pace the last couple nights, I probably would have been around 15th to start with, which is exactly where you didn't want to be tonight. So at the start, so I just felt like I'd hold back a little bit. I think I might try the same thing next week. We'll see how I do on the track. But it's more fun just being clean at the start and then getting your rhythm going. So I may do the same thing next week. We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see how you do out there. But good solid finish here in 16th tonight. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just to Scott and to Dean for hosting the league. It's my the second season, I guess, I did the summer league. So I'm really enjoying racing. So appreciate those guys hosting the league.
Awesome, Matthew. Well, congrats on a nice strong run here, and hopefully you can follow it up with an even better one next week at Belle Isle. So have a great night.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Matthew Gazenda, 16th, biggest mover of the day here. Nice to hear from him, and a nice clean race from him here to get a solid result. Let's take a look at the rest of the results here tonight from Mid-Ohio, race number 2 of the fall season, and head on out. Go here. So that is not what I wanted to show. Let's take a look at the results rather. No cautions, as is the format. No cautions get thrown here unless the admins, I think, deem a caution needs to come out. But 3 lead changes in this race between Darren Treacle and a couple of the drivers on pit strategy staying out extra laps. But Treacle will take the victory here tonight in a dominating performance. But Steve Ficacci gave him a hard time for a while. He was right there with him, comes home in 2nd place ultimately at the end. Stefan Vappa finishes 3rd. Mike Pavolano comes home in the 4th spot. Brian Kennedy finishes in 5th. Aaron Dietrich will finish in the 6th spot. Adam Pohl comes home 7th. Callan Crocker finishes in 8th. Jesse Brannon finishes 9th. And Rafael Torres finishes in the 10th position. Finishing 11th tonight was Clint Fletcher. 12th, Justin Craig. 13th, Colin Kortnick. 14th, Carlos Bonds. 15th was Matthew Stover. 16th, Matthew Gazenda. 17th, David Curtis. Scott Kim comes home in the 18th spot. Mike Nickham finishes in 19th. And Perry Duncan rounds out the top 20. Jonathan DeKusher with issues late in this one. He'll finish 21st. Peter Lanik comes home 22nd. And Robert Benson will round out the field tonight in the 23rd position. A very exciting race from Mid-Ohio here tonight, where ultimately it was Darren Treacle taking the victory in the 2nd race of the season. We do want to thank you so much for tuning in here on V-Speed, and hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Please follow us here on YouTube and Facebook if you did. Make sure to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, and check us out on social media to stay up to date with what we're doing throughout the week. But we're back with the Below the Double Yellow Premier Series next Tuesday. Race number 3 in this league we will not be bringing you, so next week we will be off from the broadcast, but then we'll be back the following week from Watkins Glen here in the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League. So looking forward to that one in a couple of weeks. Catch us on Tuesday night, though. It's going to be a fun one at Talladega in the NASCAR Cup Cars. So tune in for that. Until then, have a great night.